What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the Wedding Planning Podcast. I'm your co-host, Amanda.
And I'm your co-host, Monica.
Welcome back, guys. I feel like it's been so
A
long
minute.
since we recorded. Didn't we last record in like November?
We last recorded in November and we kind of batch recorded so that we could have some out at the beginning of December and then here. And then this episode will actually kind of come out in real time next week. So we're going to give you some life updates that will actually be in real time for once.
Yeah, it's not like you're listening to this 3 months from now being like, oh, that's what was happening. Yeah, oh my gosh, I feel like we had Christmas, we had time off, we had your wedding, which is this whole episode. I'm so excited to interview you.
I can't wait to spill the tea on the wedding. It was honestly so fun, but we'll get to that. Yeah, how's your holidays? Tell us about your trips. What'd you do?
Christmas was really nice. I feel like we had a good mix of family, friends, and some downtime. So I'm glad it wasn't like too overwhelming. We went to Costa Rica in December. We spent 2 weeks there and we got back right before Christmas, like right in the middle of that cold snap. It was horribly shocking going from like 35 to like minus 40.
Yes, I remember when you were telling me you were going away, I was like, you can go away, but you have to be back at the end of the month, else I'll murder you. There was no option, because at one point you were like, I'm away for Christmas, I'm not coming back until January. I was like, nope, not an option.
So we had to work around the gal's wedding, but here we are. No, it's been good. I think we took basically mid-December to kind of mid-January now off. We're kind of just getting back into it. I definitely needed a break, a reset, step away from the computer. And then I spent most of January just doing back end things and getting sorted for this coming year. So I feel like I'm ready. I'm really excited for this year. We have such a good mix of a good handful of full plannings, a lot of partial plannings, which is always fun. So we get to do the designs. And then, of course, our bread and butter, a lot of coordinations, which will be great too. So yeah, I feel good. I'm getting excited again.
I'm getting excited too. And we're going to get to go to venues that we haven't got to go to yet, that like are venues that I've always wanted to work at. So that's like, it's nice to keep it interesting, because I feel like last year we went to a lot of the same places, which isn't bad. I love some of the standard venues, but it'll be nice to see some new places.
Yeah, there's a couple that we haven't been to as well. So I'm excited. How about you, Gal? Tell us, besides the wedding.
The holidays was nice. I feel like it's always like so busy, one event after the other, but it was super nice. And then relaxed a bit in January. Lived the married life. I actually went out skiing once for the first time in a few years, which was fun. Things are good. I'm excited for this season. I'm excited for the clients we have, the weddings we're planning. I feel rejuvenated. I feel ready.
That's good. And you got a dog. I think the last time you didn't have the puppy.
Oh my God, the podcast doesn't know about Frankie.
Frankie, tell us about Frankie.
We have gal pal Frankie. She's the sweetest little thing ever. She's 13 and a half pounds, little labradoodle. She's so precious.
She's amazing. I'm obsessed with her. I kind of wish Duchess was like still in the puppy phase, because the puppy phase is so cute. Now she's just 2 and a tyrant sometimes, but we love her.
Yeah, and Frankie and Duchess have met each other, and Duchess thought Frankie was too much, which is saying a lot for Duchess, considering Duchess is a lot herself. But Frankie's going for a sleepover at Amanda's house for a full week, so they'll become besties.
I'm actually really looking forward to that, because Duchess needs someone that she can play with all day long, because if she doesn't, like, usually I give her a bone and we go for our walk and we do all of this, but she's super like hyperactive. So even today she was like whining here. She's like, yeah, like, play with me. And I'm like, girl, I'm busy.
Frankie needs the same thing. Frankie lives for friends. She lives for dogs. If I let her, that gal would play 24 hours a day, no sleep, no rest. So they're going to have the time of their life.
Another dog park. Seriously.
Hopefully she comes back.
let's jump into the wedding. Let's give the people what they want. So we have a collection of Instagram questions from our little box that we put out. I think I'm going to start with the most general one.
Okay, should I just start off by saying that last time we podcasted, people asked me when we were planning the wedding, and this only got decided at the end of October. So all of this got planned and executed in about like a month and a half, just for people's reference. Yes. I wouldn't recommend it for everyone, but since obviously we do this for a living, it wasn't that stressful for me.
Yes, and yeah, because that was one of the questions. I can't believe that, actually. That's so funny. And here we are, married.
Here we are.
So yeah, we'll touch base more on that as well. But the first question is, tell me all. Tell us all. Give us a general overview
of the day.
I would just say the wedding itself, like maybe a brief description of your vendors, your vision, the day, kind of, yeah, just an overview.
Okay, so I kind of knew who I wanted for my vendors ahead of time, because I have worked with basically all of them. Essentially, overview of the day, I wanted to be really like casual, just everyone having a good time, being together with friends and family with like a classy, elegant style to it. So essentially, we all got ready at my parents' house. It was super fun. Everyone was just kind of hanging out in the kitchen, living room, chatting. People would come and go. We had a waffle bar, which was delicious, by the way. Everyone was kind of getting their hair and makeup done. It was just really chill, which I wanted.
I'm just following in the corner.
Yeah.
I got to go for hair and makeup. Monica graciously allowed me to hang out and be part of the getting ready. So I got my hair and makeup done. And as soon as I walked in the door, I started bawling.
The minute she saw me. It was so sweet. I honestly was in my track pants. I was looking like I just rolled out of bed. She saw me, started bawling. That's the kind of bond we have.
I was not expecting that because I'm not like a huge crier. And I was just like, the gal is getting married.
Oh, you're so sweet. And then I just kind of got my dress on. I came downstairs. Everyone saw me. We didn't do like a big reveal or anything. It was just like I had to come downstairs anyways to leave. Then me and the girls got into the limo. Amanda had to go get dressed because she was in her jammy top. And we got into the limo and we went to meet the guys at the venue so that we could do the first look at the venue so that we can go to all our photos. It was very important to me that all of the bridal party and couple photos were done prior to the ceremony because I wanted to be able to like be there for the whole cocktail hour and everything like that. And then so we went to get our photos taken. We went to 2 different locations. We went to Big Hill Springs, I think it's called, which is super pretty. I actually want to go there on like a walk one day. And then we went to this random lookout that is probably somebody's property to get more photos. So I can't tell you where that is because it was just right beside Floors and Pine. Then we came back and we did a room reveal, which was very important to me because I wanted to see the whole vision come to life before anyone else touched it because there was going to be people in the room before the ceremony. So there wasn't really time to see it in between. And then we did a private first dance, which is something I really wanted to do just to have like a moment with Brendan before like all of the commotion. Actually, it was probably one of my favorite parts of the day. Then we went up to the bridal suite, took a minute, and we actually had our dad sign our marriage license prior to the ceremony in the bridal suite, which was super special. And then Brendan and I just took some time together before we got married. Then we got married outside on the patio in the winter, which was so worth it. So worth it. Everyone else, though, for reference, all of the guests were sitting under a heated area. There was the fireplace and everyone had blankets. So do you think it was cold? You were sitting out there.
I was wearing my like sweater, so I was fine. Like I
Yeah.
just had like a little light jacket that I wore over my dress. I would say it was cold. Like the bridesmaids maybe looked a little chilly,
Yeah.
but it was so quick that it was like done.
Yeah. It was fine. And then we had my younger sister actually marry us, which was super special.
We did such a good
She
job.
blew it out of the water. It's something like I never even expected it to be as fun as it was. Then we did family photos. Can't say that was my favorite part. I love my family. There's just a lot of them. And it was like, we were going to originally do them outside, but because we were losing daylight because it was December and it gets dark at like 4 p.m. and it was cold, we ended up doing it inside. And it was just like, maybe not the best area to do them. There was people anyways, that's the worst thing that was annoying. It's not that bad. And the photos were worth it, obviously.
Yeah.
And then we just had a cocktail hour and we had a live band. So the acoustic guy, Jordan from the band, sang for 45 minutes. Then we did dinner. We did all of our speeches before dinner because I wanted people to be able to just
Love
like
that.
sit, enjoy, not have to worry about like, is it my turn to get up? What's happening? Or
Also,
like,
from a guest perspective, that was really nice.
yeah.
It was so nice. And then I can sit and I can eat and I can enjoy dinner. I can mingle with the people without like being interrupted.
Without having to start and stop. And it's like better for the restaurant too, because they don't have to worry about like, are we going? Are we not going? Is somebody speaking?
Yeah.
Then we did another first dance for the people. And then we did our parent dances. And then the live band played all night. And of course, we had a poutine bar because if anyone knows me, I'm obsessed with poutine.
And a photo booth.
And a photo booth, which was incredible. People love the photo booth. I cannot wait to get the photos from the photo booth.
Yes. And you had confetti call, which I think was a great call.
Yeah, so for vendors, we had Tess was our photographer. We had Michael K. Film as our videographer. And something I will say is I was hesitant about getting a videographer, even though every client is like, get the videographer. I regret not getting the videographer. I even said to Amanda, is it worth it? Should I get it? And she's like, you're going to regret not getting it. And I would have regretted not having him there. He's incredible. I can't wait to see the video. Then we obviously the venue was Floors and Pine. We had our gal Mel from Nectar and Root do the flowers. She did incredible. I truly didn't really give her much. I was just like, do whatever's in season, whatever you think will look nice. And they turned out beautiful. We had Confetti Call as our guest book, which was super special. We had Revolution do our photo booth. We had Rocky Mountain Fever do our live band. And am I missing anyone? And Glam Away did our hair and makeup.
So glam. And for people that don't know what Confetti Call is, it is an audio guest book. They are all the rage now. Every time we do a design with a client, I'm trying to convince them. I'm like, this is something worth the investment.
Yes.
Like it's not cheap by any means, but it's worth it. It's so worth it. Like you're going to be able to listen back to, I don't even remember what I said, but
I'll tell you when it comes. But it's also so special because you can listen back to like your grandparents' voices or like people in your family that might be elderly like forever. So now I'll always have that.
100%. Yeah, your day was so fun. Okay, let's get into the deets. Tess, your photographer wants to know, was it cold?
Okay, so
tell us the truth.
I was a bit cold, but I also think I was just so nervous. I never thought I would be so nervous. Like, even though Brendan and I had seen each other and we had been together all morning, I was just like so nervous. And every time I would look out into like the crowd, I was going to call it the audience. Every time I look out like into the crowd at someone, they'd be crying. And I'm like, I can't look at you guys if you're all crying, like together, because then I'm going to start to cry.
Oh,
so
I was crying. Julio was crying.
I think I know, it's so cute. Julio was like, I didn't think I was going to cry.
Well.
So was I cold? Probably a little. Did I have the most practical dress for the winter? Probably not. But was it worth doing it outside? 100%.
Yeah. I think you can really, well, in Canada anyway, you can kind of get away with the winter outdoor ceremonies if they're short and sweet, and you know, inform your guests
Yeah,
properly and have the right things for them. So I thought it was great. I didn't mind.
perfect.
Okay, how did you choose your venue? How did you
Okay,
choose your
so
venue?
I always knew I was never like, I need to get married here, I need to get married there, but I always knew I really wanted to have one long table so that
Mm,
everyone was sitting at the one long table. And there's only so many places that can accommodate one long table. So we went to Floors and Pine in October for somebody else's wedding. And that was actually my first time there seeing it in person. And I was just like, oh my God, this would be the perfect space to have one long table. And I also always knew I wanted to
yeah.
get married outside, and they have that really beautiful area to get married outside. So then I was just kind of like, I feel like everything's adding up. This is the place. And it just so happened that they had availability in December.
Yes, that is true. And their room, for reference, is like kind of long and narrow. So it
Mhm.
worked out perfectly. I would say if you had any more guests, we would have not been able to fit anyone. So what was your
No,
final guest count?
I think it was 67, that we had a few last minute cancellations, thank goodness, because honestly, not everyone would have fit. Brendan and I were sitting on a love seat that probably took up like 4 spots. So had we had more people, we probably would have had to sit on normal chairs like everyone else.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was so nice. I love the long table.
Yes,
It felt
I
so
recommend.
like homey in a sense. Like we're all just sitting down for
And
family
it's so
dinner.
special sitting at the same table as all your guests, and you just look to the left and you look to the right and you look in front of you and you're like, oh my God, like when are all these people ever sitting at a table together ever again? Never.
Totally. Totally. Okay, what was your favorite part about planning your own wedding?
It's so hard to say because I always had the vision of what it was going to look like for a long time. And I always kind of knew the vendors like in the last year that I would pick. I think it
Yeah.
was so like nice seeing it come to life. Um, but my favorite part of planning the whole thing was probably like actually picking out the elements of the design to bring the vision to life.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's always the fun part. Like the
Yeah.
vendor sourcing, it's pretty straightforward. Um, but yeah, the planning process, the design piece is always the fun piece.
Yeah. So basically, I told Amanda we were getting married. She was on her way to Turkey and Egypt, wherever you went in the beginning of November. And then I was like, when you get back, I need your help. We're going to design the whole thing together. And then she kind of took over the design part once I told her the vision. So it was really nice to also have you help me bring the vision to life.
Totally. You know, I love a good design. And it was so fun. And it
Yeah,
was so you when you were like, yep, we want this. I was like, yes, this is perfect. So
it was.
how did you come up with your like design and colors?
Okay. So the colors kind of came because Brendan wanted to wear green. So that kind of made one of the colors automatically green. And then I always had a vision of the girls being in different colors, shades of pink, which ended up more being like dusty rose burgundy in the end, but it worked out well because I guess pink's not really the color of the winter. So we had to go more on the darker tones, which I actually think ended up looking nicer than what my original vision was for the winter anyways. So that's kind of how we came down to the colors of pink and green. And then I just honestly kept it really simple. We did like mismatched color goblets in pink and green, which worked out well. We did green velvet napkins because I have a thing for the green velvet napkins. They seem to be my thing. And then we just did different color candles in different shades of pink and green and white in taper and pillar candles. So it was all very simple. And then we just did bud vases along the table for our flower accents as well. So it was just very simple, honestly.
And I think it worked for like, and we'll talk about this too, like the type of style of meal that you
Yeah.
chose, your design. You definitely have to think about that. If people are trying to figure out what they want to do with their wedding, definitely take into account the factor of how your meal is being served as well.
Yeah, I couldn't have done more. Also, I think with the one long table, less is more, because it would have looked very cluttered. Like there would have looked like there's too much on the table.
I agree. Unless you go with like a double wide long table and you
Yeah.
can put like a thick greenery or a thick like floral piece, but with one, singular long table, it's just
Yes. And we had the harvest tables from the venue as well.
yes, those were so nice. And then you guys rented the love seat, a
Mhm.
blessed pink love seat in front of the fireplace so you guys could cozy up. I love a love seat for the couple. It's so
Me
cute.
too. That thing though, people might not know. Those things are a beast. Like to get in and out of the table, you basically have to push back the entire love seat or like really maneuver it back, or the person beside me would have to get up to move their chair for me to get out.
You are locked and loaded in the love seat. I guess it's different if you're like at a sweetheart and it's just the two of you. You guys can push back. But yeah, if you're at a guest table, it's kind of a little bit of a maze to get out of there.
And something to consider as well with a love seat is they take up more than just the two regular spots. So you need a longer table or more like space, or if you're doing a sweetheart table, obviously you can fit it there. But if you're like sitting with your bridal party or whatever, you need more space.
Yeah, it took up basically 4 chairs for you two.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, what type of meal did you choose and why?
Okay,
Sure.
so we did family style. So I always knew I wanted to do a family style meal. Give everyone a lot of variety of what to eat. So they basically brought out just different platters and people would serve themselves. So you can eat as much or as little as you want, and you can have the variety of all of the different options. I am a huge pasta girl, so we had a complete pasta course, which is very on brand for me, which is so good. I'll never forget that gnocchi. And then we did mains with 2 different proteins, a couple vegetables and potatoes. And then we did just desserts, just like mini desserts that people could pick from. A little thing that I did was we didn't actually get enough dessert for everyone, because from my own experience, not everyone actually eats the dessert by the time you get to the dessert. So we actually only ordered enough dessert for 55 people. And for the cocktail hour, we only ordered enough food for 75% of the guests, because a lot of the cocktail hour food goes to waste. And then for the late night snack, which was the poutine bar, we actually only ordered enough for 35 people.
Yeah, good call. That's kind of like the standard-ish.
Yeah.
Good for people to know, because yeah, especially
You
late
don't
night
need
snack.
it all.
Don't get me started on the late night snack, girl.
Oh, I know.
You know the story I want to tell, but I'm not going to tell.
That's for our deep files. One day it will come out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, personally, from a guest perspective, the family style was really nice. Like Julio eats way more than me, so he got his helping. There was tons of food to go around. We both got great helpings of pasta. Like I wanted more veggies and salad, and I only had like one of the proteins, like the salmon.
Yeah.
And then everyone else went to town, and it's kind of like a mini buffet, but a more like personalized.
And there was no shortage of food. Like definitely there was lots of food left over, and people could 100% have seconds. And it's nice because you can sit and mingle, and you don't have to wait till like, is it my table's turn to get up to go to the buffet? Oh my God, they took away the buffet. I didn't get to have the seconds, like
table calling and all that stuff. It definitely made for like a more streamlined dinner service in terms of like, okay, speeches are done, plates are down, everyone go to town and eat. It was so good. Okay. Did you have a wedding party? Why or why not? And what is your experience with that? Would you do it again? Would you have less? Would you have more? Tell me.
Okay, so I just want to start by saying, yes, I had a wedding party, and yes, I loved everyone that I had in the wedding party, and I don't regret having a wedding party.
Yeah.
Originally, I personally did not want a wedding party. The reason we had wedding parties is because Brendan was very much for like, I want people to stand beside me. So obviously it would look awkward if there was only guys and no girls beside me. So I obviously had to compromise on that front. I personally made all of the gals that stood beside me equal, like there was no maid of honor, and I had somebody different stand beside me at the ceremony than sit beside me at dinner, so that everyone kind of felt like that they had a role to play. And then I also had like the third girl at dinner sit like right across from me so that she was sitting closer, so that kind of everyone felt like they were equal and had a role to play.
Yeah.
If I were to do it again with a wedding party, I probably would have had them sit down at the ceremony so that it was just Brendan and I and the officiant standing up there, but I don't regret anything that I had. I just feel like I had to make some compromises because it's what Brendan really wanted.
That's fair. I mean, there's win some, you lose some in the world of wedding planning, but that's good feedback. We've had a couple of our clients have their wedding party sit down, and I just didn't really think anything of it. I'm like, sure, okay, cool. Because some people do that.
What I
Lots
also
of
would have done
churches
is
do
because
that.
you have your people stand behind you. So the whole ceremony, like you're standing up there, and like as much as you look at your partner, you're also kind of looking to someone else for comfort. But I can't turn around and look at my people. I'm standing here looking at Brendan's people. So another thing I would have done was flipped them so that I'm looking at the girls and he's looking at the guys, so that the guys are behind me and the girls are behind him.
Wow. I don't think we've seen that before, but I like it.
Yeah.
Look at you, trendsetter.
I know.
Okay. One thing that you would have changed.
Okay, one thing I
Minus
would
the
have
wedding
changed is I feel like I didn't get enough photos beforehand with the bridal party. So we kind of got to the venue and the guys were taking a lifetime before the first look. So by the time we got to the first look, and we only had so much time beforehand because I was so adamant in like seeing the room beforehand, and because of the way the venue is laid out, like people had to go into the room because we're not making everybody like, they can't go into the restaurant and we're not making them stand outside essentially.
Yeah.
So I feel like we didn't get enough time for bridal party photos. I mean, I haven't had all my photos back, so I can't say if that's like a full regret that I didn't get enough of them.
I just feel like it was rushed.
Close to the end, I think in my head, but this just could be because I knew what was happening and I helped
I
to
was
like
phoning
plan
you
it all.
saying, where are you?
I was like, okay, we have to go. And maybe I wasn't enjoying the moment as much at the end because I knew that there was like people waiting on us to like be able to like get into the room. So I feel like I either would have given us more time.
Yep.
Or I'm not sure what else I would have done.
You could have done more wedding party photos after the ceremony, I guess.
Yeah, but then it was dark outside. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Just more time, I guess.
Yeah.
Fair. I like it. Good feedback. Why you chose a live band, and was it comparable in price to a DJ?
Okay, so I always knew I wanted a live band because I just kind of like that like atmosphere that a live band brings. We have personally worked with this band before and I loved it. As much as it might, some people might be like, but then my guests don't get to request music or I can't request music. They definitely like have sets, but they played a variety of different music to play to the crowd. And they kind of played like the older style music first to play to the old people that were going to get up and dance. And also it's just nice to have the music of a live band going in the background without the pressure of necessarily having to be on the dance floor all night. So you can still enjoy it without having to like be dancing the whole time. I did join the band at one point because, you know, it's something I would do.
You're in the band. It was actually really nice. Like you said, like Julio and I danced, but then we would just sit down and just listen to the band, watch them. And actually, I think Julio yelled a song selection at them. I think they played it too. I mean, they only know certain songs, but they have a huge library of songs. So if you're like, play this, or
if they know it, they'll play it, but they obviously might not know everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And what was it comparable to a DJ cost?
The one that I got 100% was, I actually think was a little bit cheaper than a DJ cost. But the one thing you have to consider when you get a live band is not all of them will necessarily play for the ceremony as well. So you have to determine if you want live music during the ceremony, if you're okay with an iPod being plugged in. Does the venue have the capability of an iPod being plugged in? Do you have a speaker that you could use instead? Who's going to provide the microphone? Like, there is more logistics you have to figure out than just a DJ showing up with all the equipment and easily being able to move from outside to inside from point A to point B.
Yeah, because a full band, we can't full band set up for the ceremony and then move it inside unless you have like 2 hours in between your ceremony.
Exactly. So they're kind of like in one place.
Yeah, because he just came, the one acoustic singer came out with one speaker, a microphone, and played for them coming down the aisle, etc. Some songs as people were sitting, and then he just moved his stuff inside for.
Exactly, but not all bands will have one person that's an individual acoustic person. So it kind of just depends on what you want, as well as when it came down to our song selection. This was partially probably because we were on a tight timeline for the ceremony. They learned all of the songs we wanted for us walking down the aisle, but then they didn't have enough time, which is completely fair, to learn all of the first dance and parent dance songs, which wasn't as important to us in the end. So you also just have to take that into consideration if you're okay with like some of your important songs being played off an iPod, which we were. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I'm sure if we'd given them more time, they would have been able to learn them all.
Yeah, and most bands too, like in between their sets, they'll throw on an iPod, throw on whatever you want. So you could get that mix of whatever you're looking for, like, you know, the top 40 stuff that plays on the radio. I find people are the general, like, as a general guess, more people are inclined to dance when there's a band because it's more like well-known music, you know, everyone from like your grandpa's dancing to like your little niece kind of thing is moving and grooving. So it's like, I like the band atmosphere. It's more intimate, I find, and it's just, I think it's more like all encompassing of everyone, because like a rap song goes on and half the people are going to get off the dance floor. A few people will stay on, but like, does anyone really like dance to rap? I don't know. You bumping and grinding on your wedding dance floor.
No, I agree. I think it was very inclusive and they played a very good mix of music. And I probably could have requested more songs ahead of time based off of what they know, but I was kind of just like, this is what you do for a living. I'm sure you'll pull through, and they definitely did.
Yeah, I think one thing that probably made your wedding planning so like less stressful for you is you really just like trusted your vendors. You were like, okay, this is what I want for flowers. This is my vision. I know you're good at what you do. Make it happen. Were they amazing? Yes. Same with the venue. Like, okay, can you do family style? This is what I'm thinking. Okay, we agree on the venue. The food was fabulous, or the menu, the food was fabulous. Same with the band, you know, these are our musts. I think if you go into it with trusting your vendors, trusting these experts that do this all the time, you're going to have a much better wedding day and a planning experience if you just put it in their hands for the most part. Obviously, there's stuff that you guys want and you request and that sort of thing. But for the most part, like even your wedding video, I'm sure you didn't even tell Michael anything. You were just like, make it great.
Honestly, I didn't, not even photos. I wasn't like, I need this, I need that. I was just like, I trust that you'll get the shots that you want. And it's funny you say that.
No shot list. Nothing, just like here's some family photos. That's all I care about, and literally just your thing.
They do this as a living, and they have probably done like 50 plus weddings a year. Like I just trusted all of them. It's funny you say that because with the florals, my mom was asking me in the morning, she's like, what does your bouquet look like? And I was like, I don't know. She's like, you don't know what your bouquet looks like? I'm like, no, I just told her I'm not a fan of, I don't love roses. So can we not put a lot of roses? This is what the colors are, go for it kind of thing. She knows what's in season. She knows what's going to look nice together. And it showed up and it was absolutely stunning. So like, I just let them do their thing.
That I think anyone listening that is planning their wedding, I think that is what I'm realizing is the biggest key, because you can get so bogged down in choosing vendors or, getting down to every last nitty gritty detail. And if you just really trust these experts, trust your designer, trust your planner, trust your venue, trust your florist, and especially trust your planner in that sense, because we are recommending these vendors to you. We know that they do a good job. We're not recommending Joe Schmo. We know that these are great vendors that are going to, serve you well on your wedding day.
Exactly.
That's my spiel. Okay, tips for dress shopping. Tell us about that.
Okay, so for the dress shopping, I'll tell you about the experience. So obviously, I had maybe a month, so I had to buy off the rack.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't an option for me to get something custom or wait for something to come in. I went dress shopping when I was in Chicago. So there was kind of 2 stores that I was able to go to buy off the rack. One of them being the Anthropologie dress store, BHLDN, and one of them being like, it wasn't consignment, but it was like dresses that people use for photo shoots or for runway shows, or old dresses that like people might have tried on but never got bought, old stock kind of thing. So it wasn't consignment, but they weren't brand new, but you literally just bought off the rack. It was a very overwhelming store. I kind of went into it having no idea what style was going to look good on me. I'd never tried on a wedding dress in my life. And I just went into it knowing I wanted a dress with long sleeves because obviously it was the winter and we were going to be outside. So we went to the Anthropologie dress store first, and I basically only had so many dresses I could try on that I was going to be able to get in time in my size. So that kind of narrowed it down for me. I couldn't really look at everything, which hindsight is so much better, because had I tried on one more dress, I would have been so overwhelmed. It's a very overwhelming experience. Try on less dresses than you think, 100%. So I kind of tried on like 3 different styles, all long sleeve, different fabrics. I never had that like crying on the floor moment, like, when you like yourself in the mirror. I was like, am I supposed to cry? Like, how am I supposed to know like what the dress is?
Yeah.
So we go to the Anthropologie one, we try on these 3 dresses, and there's one dress that I really like, but I was like, I feel like I have to go to this other store because this is my first time trying on dresses, and maybe I should try on some more traditional styles, because obviously Anthropologie is a bit less like traditional. But I was like, I need to go and try on some traditional. So at this other store, you pick like 10 dresses to try on, and it's whatever your size is there. So there's they give you like 10 little clothespins to like clothes on, and there's no option of like different sizes. You find the one dress in that size. There's no up or down size. It is what it is off the rack. So I tried on different styles. I tried on this ball gown, and everyone was like in love with the ball gown. And I was like, I feel like I'm getting eaten alive. Like, I cannot wear this. This is like, and she's like, the lady at the store was like, take out all the crinoline and the tulle. And I'm like, then what's the point of buying a ball gown if you're just going to take it apart?
Take it all out. I cannot see you in a ball gown, gal.
I know, neither can. It was awful. The top was cute, but the bottom, I was like, I'm getting eaten alive here.
Yeah.
So then I tried on a few others, and there was one dress at this store that I really liked. But I think being a wedding planner and having seen all these wedding dresses, to me, I never wanted anything traditional because I've seen it so many times. Not to say they're not beautiful, and not to say I didn't love that one dress, but then the more I kept standing there in this dress that was like option 2, I couldn't stop thinking about the first dress from the Anthropologie store. And like, I think I was relying too much on what other people thought, because I kept being like, Sophia, what do you think? Dad, do you think this is nice? Like, what's everyone else's opinion? And they kept just saying, Monica, what do you like? What do you feel good in? And we came to the realization that I liked the one at the Anthropologie store better. And yes, I went dress shopping with my dad and I recommend it. It was the best experience. It doesn't need to be a surprise from your dad. It was so fun.
Aww, Dino probably.
And so then we went back, bought the dress at Anthropologie, and then in Calgary, I just had to do some minor alterations.
Nice. I love it. So your tips are, don't try on too many dresses, pick the right people, and go with what feels good on you.
And I would not have gone to one more store because I would have been so overwhelmed.
I think it's a lot, and a lot of people have said that as well. I think I haven't gone to a store, but when I've done styled shoots, I've put on the dresses just for fun. I'm like, oh, I put this on, but I have no idea what I would get.
And I didn't know either. And nobody actually thought what I got is what would have I would have been in.
Yeah. I love it. Okay. How did you decide on your wedding budget? I feel like this is a good question because I'm always curious, like, how do people just come up with, okay, we're going to spend $60K or we're going to spend $100K?
Okay, so how did we decide on the wedding budget? We were fortunate enough to get some money from family, which factored into how much we spent because we could have never afforded all of that, just the two of us. So that kind of took into consideration how much we were willing to spend, as well as I never really wanted to spend that much. Like what I spent is probably much less than what people probably think I spent based off of what they see on Instagram or what they hear us talking about here. And then we just kind of took into consideration, like, and maybe it's easier from having done other people's budget. Like I budgeted out how much I thought the design was going to cost based off of like what I wanted. And it just goes to show that you don't have to spend a lot of money to get like a beautiful design. And then I kind of budgeted out the meal on an average of like wedding meals are typically $85 to like $100, give or take. So I budgeted out on the higher side based off of what I thought we were going to get for a guest count. So I kind of like put all of that together and but we already knew how much we wanted to spend because Brendan and I knew how much we wanted to put into it personally, based off of what our family was giving to us in addition.
Yeah, no, I think that's good. I think that's a good place for people to start. Like consider your guest count because that's always going to make it more or less. Consider the meal, consider your bar situation, and consider how important your design is in research. Like there's lots of information of like what a standard design costs or, what an average floral budget is. So I think if you just do the research a little bit, you can probably land on something.
Yeah. And a lot of rental companies have all their prices on the website. So like you can kind of do a rough idea of what style you like and see like how much that's going to be. I will be honest, I did get some discounts being in the industry, but there's a lot of things I paid full price for.
Oh, yeah.
So like, I would say that like for what and then we had to see what was important to us. We really wanted the confetti calls. So that might've been a bit more expensive than getting just a standard guest book, but that was something that was important to us. So you also have to determine what's important to you as a couple, and what might not be as important, which you could spend less money on or take out altogether.
Yes, that's actually my favorite part is the initial consult with our full planning clients because I want to know their priorities. That's how we build a budget. This is literally how we build a budget and like start vendor sourcing. What are your priorities? What's the style? What's the vibe? What's important? What are we including? I love building the budgets. So anyone looking for a wedding planner, we love building your budget.
We're available.
We're available. Okay, last question, Gal. One thing you wish couples knew about planning a wedding?
Okay, maybe it's easier said than done, but it doesn't have to be stressful. Like we were talking about, if you leave it in the hands of the professionals and the vendors, and it doesn't have to be stressful. Truly, I was not stressed once. Like everyone was like, what's going on? What's happening with this? I'm like, it'll get done. It'll get sorted. It's not that big of a deal. The world's not going to end. I wouldn't take it too seriously. Like have fun with it. Don't overthink it. At the end of the day, you're going to remember the day. You're not going to sit there and analyze, oh my gosh, this candle color was off, or oh my gosh, I forgot this. Nobody's going to notice. There's things that happen that I noticed that no one else would have noticed happen throughout the day. So truly, I would say don't take it too seriously. Have fun with it. It's meant to be like one of the best days of your life. And you don't want to go into it like stressed.
Yeah, and I think a big piece of that is, I mean, when we talk about trusting your vendors, obviously you have to find the right vendors because there's thousands of florists, thousands of photographers, thousands of venues out there. And I think doing your research is important, and also utilizing people like a wedding planner that have those connections, that have worked with these people, that know the industry is huge. Like that plays a big role, because you could find someone online and they look great and they sound great, but maybe their execution isn't the best, when it comes to the wedding day. So I think that definitely plays a big key as well. And I'm glad that you said don't take it too seriously, because it's true. It's like, this is supposed to be an enjoyable process for you and your partner. It should be fun. It should be exciting. It should be fun, sitting down and picking things and deciding on things and building your guest list. But I see a lot of our couples are, they're stressed. Even if they have us for full planning, they're still picking their guest list. I think that's probably the hardest part usually, and doing all the kind of back end stuff. But yeah, it's supposed to be enjoyable. It's supposed to be fun and not stressful.
100%. Like, just don't sweat the small stuff. At the end of the day, you're not going to remember it and nobody's going to notice.
Totally. Well, Gal, that was so fun interviewing you. Anything else that you want to add for the people at home about your wedding?
I think I would just say, take the time with your partner on the day. Like I loved having not alone time with Brendan, whether it be like when we were taking photos, just the two of us, or when we were sitting up in the bridal suite, or we did the room reveal or the private first dance. Like at the end of the day, it's about the two of you. As much as you have all those guests there, take that time, even if it's just 15 minutes, to enjoy the moment together.
I love it, Gal. Thank you for all your tips and your insight. And then maybe the next time we do this, you'll be interviewing me about my wedding.
Stay tuned, everyone. The biggest question of 2023, will Amanda be married?
TBD. Bye.
All right, everyone. Thank you for listening to my wedding story.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye.